Hello everyone. So welcome to Neet to Doctor, and today I will continue with the part 2 of the biological classification Kingdom Monera. So in this video we will discuss the whole thing about the Kingdom Monera, and in the next one we will discuss about Kingdom Protista. So first of all, in the Kingdom Monera, we know it is divided into Archaebacteria and the Eubacteria, as I told before in the previous one also. Archaebacteria means old ones. So old bacteria don't have good organization, right? So complex polysaccharide and polypeptide are there in the cell wall. And in the Eubacteria, peptidoglycan cell wall is there. Okay, and peptidoglycan, what are these? NAM and Na, N-acetyl uramic acid and N-acetyl glucosamine. Next we are having the Monera includes all the prokaryotes. No prokaryote will be in another kingdom. Remember this. So just list the features of the prokaryotes now. Nucleus is absent, so nucleoid is present. Then DNA is circular and double-stranded, as I have drawn here also. Histones are absent, as histones are a characteristic feature of eukaryotes. So ribosomes are 70s, as we have seen in mitochondria and chloroplast also. Next, membrane-bound organelles are absent. Flagella is present and cilia is absent. Now, cilia is absent. Why? Now, cilia is present in eukaryotes. As you know, we have ciliated epithelium, right? So, you can understand the cilia is present in eukaryotes, so it will not be present in prokaryotes. And flagella is present here in prokaryotes because they need some locomotory structure, right? Now membrane bound organelles also has the same significance, that in eukaryotes it is present, so here it will be absent. Now tell me which organelle is present here? Yes, ribosomes. So ribosomes are present here, okay, as I have written here also, and those are 70s. Next, let's discuss the fact that the most abundant microorganisms, right? These are the most abundant microorganisms. And what is which are the sole members of the Monera kingdom? Yes, the bacteria are the sole members of the Kingdom Monera. Now the shape of the bacteria. The shape of the bacteria. Now if I say monerans or bacteria, it means the same because they are the sole members. So shape. The shape can be spherical, sphere, you can understand. Rod or cigar shape, rod, you can understand it is a rectangular type, like, right? So spiral, draw an S and repeat it. This is a spiral. You all know what is a spiral. And many times you get the photo of these bacteria and you have to identify which shape bacteria it is. And this is a kind of free marks question, right? Comma shaped. What is a comma? This is a comma. So it is a comma shaped bacteria. So let's discuss about the nutrition of the monerans. So they can be autotrophic or heterotrophic. For your knowledge, the monerans have the most diversity of the nutrition and every type of, like, they are the simplest in their structure and organization, but they are the most complex in their behavior. And this comes as a question as well. So autotrophic. Now any type of nutrition will if we are eating something, we will produce some energy, and energy is ATP. So autotrophic, they convert the ADP plus inorganic phosphate to ATP, and the same happens here as well. Then what is the difference? So the ATP formed in autotrophic is used for the food synthesis, right? And in heterotrophic, the ATP formed is not used in the food synthesis because heterotrophs are just using this ATP to form something, like they are not producing the food, like we are not producing any food, right? But the autotrophs are producing the food. Yes, they use the ATP themselves also and produce the food for the next trophic levels also. Now the autotrophic can be photoautotrophic or Chemoautotrophic. Now, what do we mean by photo and chemo here? Now, in the photo, we can understand about something like light. So, sunlight is used. The sunlight is used in photoautotrophic. To do what? So, ADP is converted, ADP plus photo inorganic phosphate is converted to the ATP. We learned that. But now, to do this reaction, which energy is used? So, sunlight, the energy of the sun is used, solar energy. And chemoautotrophic, the chemical energy is used. And chemical energy in the form of oxidants. Various oxidants are used. Now, the same will happen here. The sunlight is used here and the chemical energy is used, that is the oxidants. But here the difference is the same, that the ATP formed is not used for the food synthesis and here it is used for the food synthesis. This part is not discussed in the books sometimes, but you can just know for your knowledge that the heterotrophs are also photo and chemo, right? So now in the chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria, I told you many oxidants are used. So what are those oxidants? So it can be NO3 minus, the ammonium ion NH4 plus, and by using these oxidants, we are recycling the nutrients. Otherwise, these can be excreted out and these are not of any use. But if they are using this in their metabolism and in forming the ATPs, then they are recycling nutrients. This can come as a question that how do they recycle the nutrients? By using the these ions as their oxidants in forming the ATP. So now the heterotrophic bacteria. The heterotrophs are majorly the parasites, the decomposers and the symbionts. Now for your fact that most of the monerans adopt the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, and this comes as a very frequently asked question, that the majority of the monerans adopt which mode of nutrition. So it's heterotrophic. Now for example, the curd, in curd forming bacteria, when you make curd, now which bacteria is involved? The lab, that is lactobacillus. Antibiotic is streptomyces. You must have heard about streptomycin. So streptomyces form this the antibiotics. Now symbiotic nitrogen fixation is done by rhizobium and frankia. So rhizobium and frankia do the symbiotic nitrogen fixation. So I have a trick for you for the symbiotic nitrogen fixation. In symbiotic nitrogen fixation, symbiotic means sometimes of friendship, mutual relationship. So we can remember the right friend shows symbiosis. The right friend shows symbiosis. Right, rhizobium. It rhymes. Friend is frank, so frankia. So now, as we have understood that some bacteria are useful like curd, antibiotics and nitrogen fixation, but some are pathogenic also. We know that many that diseases are caused due to the pathogens like typhoid, cholera, etc. So cholera is caused by Vibrio cholera. Yes, it's Vibrio cholera only. It's Vibrio cholera. Now typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi. Tetanus is caused by Clostridium tetani. Citrus canker by Xanthomonas citri. So Xanthomonas citri. So these are very easy, as in the name only you can identify which disease they cause. So now we have reproduction in monerans. It can be asexual or sexual. These are the basic classifications. Now in asexual, in favorable conditions and in afavorable conditions. So F for favorable and F for fission. So binary fission and all will be covered in the favorable condition. And in unfavorable condition, there will be endospore formation. As we know, in unfavorable condition, the spores are very resilient to unfavorable conditions. So they will protect the next generation. So sexual, and for your information that endospore formation is more than a method of reproduction, is a method of perennation. This is also asked. So in sexual reproduction, as we know, they don't have any specific nucleus and no organelles and all. So they have a primitive type of DNA transfer. So now let's start with the mycoplasma. The mycoplasma is itself a very important portion in the Kingdom Monera. So for that, I have a very important trick as well. The pet fan. Pet fan. I am a fan of pet. Okay, just understand that. So pet fan. The ET here are not to be understood and learned because in Neet level we don't give any question from the E and T part. So for P, the P is pleomorphic, can change its shape. So they are also called the jokers of plant kingdom. Jokers of plant kingdom. It is a very important question. The pathogenic to both plants and animals. Parasite. They are a parasite. Penicillin resistant. That creates an issue. Now, from FAN, facultative anaerobes. Facultative anaerobes, right? For these obligate aerobes, facultative anaerobes, you can log on to my channel and I will post a separate video describing in detail all these classifications of aerobic and anaerobic bacteria. But let me discuss like what are the facultative anaerobes here because it may be useful for you. So facultative means it's optional. It's not necessary. It's just optional. So optional anaerobes because if they are not getting aerobic conditions, they will follow anaerobic conditions, right? So they are not obligatory to one pathway. They can follow the both pathways. In the archaebacteria, we can understand A for archaebacteria and A for the ancient. These are the ancient bacteria. So in ancient times, the habitat was very harsh. So most harsh habitat, hot spring, marshy areas, high salt concentration in which the normal human beings can't exist. So we have the methanogens. Methanogens may be in the marshy areas, right? So it will be paddy field, the cattle, rumen of the cattle, and they will produce a methane gas, right? Methane gas. Thermoacidophiles. The thermoacidophile. Thermo means high temperature, acido, high acidity. So in these conditions they exist. Now in halophiles, the halophiles, halo means salt. So they will exist in the salty conditions. Now what are the mode of nutrition? For the mode of nutrition we can say H for halophiles and H for heterotrophs. And heterotroph, which type of, photo or chemo? Yes, they have the photo heterotroph, right? Because halophiles, because they are getting enough sunlight, halophiles are getting enough sunlight, so photo heterotrophs. Now for methanogens and thermoacidophiles, they are chemoautotrophs. Only the halophiles are heterotroph, but the methanogens and thermoacidophiles are the autotrophs. And which type of? Yes, chemo. So this is chemo and this is photo, and these are auto and these are hetero. So now let's come on to the last part of the video, that is the monerans of the blue-green algae or the cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria means like you will understand by the cyano, that is blue. So blue, green, algae. So from the word green, what do you understand? Green, chlorophyll A. Green, we can see the higher plants, right? The plants we see in the garden or in the park. So those are the higher plants. So chlorophyll A containing the pigments are similar to the higher plants, right? So first, if the higher plants like pigments are same, then the behavior will also be same. So higher plants release oxygen. So these are the first oxygenic photosynthesis, right? So they have done the first oxygenic photosynthesis. Habit, like in which forms and which groups they live. Unicellular, alone. Filamentous, in filaments, right? Like Spirogara. And C for the colonial. Next is habitat. For the habitat, we can see the fresh, marine or moist. Like we can see in the almost all types of habitat, right? Now color. Color can be any. There are various colors of cyanobacteria found on earth. Motility. Motility, we remember that bacteria usually have flagella, right? But these don't have flagella. They are non-motile. Cilia cannot be present because these are prokaryotes, but flagella is also absent. So these are non-motile. Now, one more important fact that these are the self-sufficient organisms, because plants also need nitrogen, right? Now they can't fix nitrogen on their own. They need bacteria like rhizobium or frankia. But these are the mediators of bacteria and the plants. So they can photosynthesize the organic compounds. They can get the food through this. But for this photosynthesis, they do need the nitrogen. And from they can like do the nitrogen fixation also on their own. Like they don't need any external bacteria like rhizobium or frankia. They can do the nitrogen fixation on their own. So this was all about the Kingdom Monera, and I think I have covered it in short, and this will help you in your multiple revisions as well, because almost everything of the NCERT is covered, and if anything is not covered, then do add in the comment box, and do also add in your short notes as well. Someone asked me like, can we make short notes through these videos? Yes, you can, but try to make short notes on your own, as I discussed in previous videos also, that your own short notes, your own notes will only help you in the exam time. Because I also many times used to like take some short notes or mind maps from the books given by the institutes, but at the end my own short notes would only help me. Okay, so I think you have enjoyed watching the video, and wait for the next one, that is the Kingdom Protista. Like, thanks for watching, and do subscribe the channel.